The United States is run by white males.
Okay.
My opinion, 1%.
Okay.
I'm an anarchist. Capitalism must die.
This is Brett Siegel with Disgruntled USA on Excluded Media. We are here looking at this gargantuan march. Gargantuan, absolutely huge. There are so many people here, I don't even know what to do. I'm afraid of sort of a stampede going on. But I mean, look at there's about 1 million people here. If you think of each person as more than what they are, then we have about 1 million people here. The spirit of feminism, the spirit of socialism, the spirit of Karl Marx is just breathing and seeping into this place. This is amazing. So tell us, why are you out here at the Women's March today? Why is it so important that we support women's rights?
You know, everybody comes from a woman. Without women, we as a species wouldn't exist. And yet, in countries like India, women get acid thrown on them for walking next to another man. In countries like Kenya, women can't leave their household and they're, told they have to make babies. Not all of Kenya, but certain tribes and everything.
Kind of makes you glad to be here in America, doesn't it?
A toxic masculinity, pretty much the male patriarch suppressing the voice of the woman. Anything, whether it be anything. It could even be, as companies, the world is the United States is run by white males.
Okay.
My opinion, 1%.
Okay.
I'm an anarchist. Capitalism must die.
I try not to support big cotton, but
I was going to go to tampons. That's where I was going next.
So we see that there's definitely a stratification there when it comes to healthcare, and that's why we believe that healthcare is a human right.
But I'm saying, in particular, females, we have to purchase tampons.
So something should be decommodified in our society, like our roads. Everybody drives on the same roads.
Men can get condoms for free, but then we have these tampons that are bleached.
The issues of exploitation that exist within in a patriarchal society go hand in hand with what it means to live in a capitalist society.
All kinds of chemicals in them. So that's a suppression on us as well.
Right. And also, I know we all have to wear cotton once in a while, but it's sort of an evil, a necessary evil, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a huge industry. I mean, in fact, just the idea of cotton in the first place is kind of racist, since the country was built on slaves picking cotton.
Exactly.
Right?
Correct.
Right.
You're very correct.
So how do we rectify this situation, for the future, and how do we rectify it for our kids?
I think toxic masculinity is a problem.
It's all tied together. The masculinity thing, the poverty, the violence, it's all tied together.
Right.
And
so we should put a woman in charge.
well, sometimes, yeah.
We have to educate. That's a huge part about it. Education, because there's so much miseducation going on. We teach false history about the Civil War in schools still.
Right. Like what?
Like we still have a school named after Confederates, mass murderers, if you will, people who were against the United States of America that wanted to secede from the Union because they believed in
rebels.
Yeah, rebels. Rebels.
Right.
That's funny.
Yes. We need more, I trust women more than I do men, so.
Right. Well, I'm also of the belief that we need more women in CEO positions. We need more women in STEM, science, math, technology, all that stuff. I also think that in order for us to have true equality, we should make sure that waste management has an equal number of women. We need women garbage people.
So I think toxic masculinity is twofold. One, how it affects women and how it affects men. So we tell boys to be tough and not to cry, and yet we tell women it's okay to be emotional, and that's not fair.
I cry all the time.
You should.
How do we know it when someone is engaging in toxic masculinity?
When they're just being a man. I'm just kidding. I'm just not. That was a joke.
I cry all the time.
You should. You should.
It's natural.
Yes, you should be able to experience your emotions and express them in a healthy manner.
But what is he doing? He's on top of your head, grabbing. I mean, you can just sort of sense it everywhere. You see, I'm a little bit new to the whole thing, so I'm still sort of learning how to sense it, and not only in other people's behavior, but in my own behavior as well. So I try not to, So for example, like asking women, I hear that catcalling is a big thing too. Like you can't catcall, right? So how would you say, like, should a man ask a woman out before asking her, ask her her permission to ask her out?
It was a way for me to manage my monsters, we'll put it that way, And then also, don't forget, we got the
And it's also, I think we need to teach people it's okay to be rejected. Rejection to me makes you stronger. It teaches you how to improve yourself.
That's why I'm so tough.
Yeah, exactly. But you don't have to be tough. You can be soft as well.
I'm pretty soft as well.
People shouldn't be living in as much poverty as we are seeing today, especially when we see people dying, especially people in working classes dying from treatable diseases, while people who are, rich in the 1% are able to pay the $10,000 for the surgery they might need or the medication they might need.
Okay. So when you're talking about the 1%, are you talking about guys like Jack Dorsey and Mark Zuckerberg,
Yeah, exactly. Those people who have profited off of the exploitation and the labor of other people.
Aren't they socialists too?
No, definitely not, because they are operating in the oppressor class, in the 1%. They're the ones who are hoarding wealth and hoarding capital, while the rest of us are scrambling for the scraps.
It refers to a particular kind of masculinity that insists on masculinity as being the standard and others as being lesser, right? And I think one of the issues with it is that it affects the minds of men who are then led to believe that they're superior to others. Right, just based on the fact that they have one set of genitals.
So like I said before, it's all about access to power, and women and minorities don't have the same access to power in those situations.
Right, so in other words, if I were up for a sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, what are you doing? Okay, I'll be back. I'll let you finish.
Breaking the chains of capitalism for $5. Can a trans man embody toxic masculinity?
I think sometimes, yeah. I think anyone can embody a problem, sometimes inadvertently, So as a person, if you think it's okay to be gay, but you don't think gay men should be feminine, that's toxic masculinity.
Can a trans man be guilty of toxic masculinity?
Can a trans man?
A woman who transitions into a man and embodies all the qualities of men, can a trans man be guilty of toxic masculinity?
I mean, I guess so. I would think so. I mean, I've never been asked that question.
Can a trans man be guilty of toxic masculinity?
Trans man.
I don't know. I feel like I doubt they would be that way, but that's just my opinion. So
Some people would say that's a very bigoted thing to say because if you are. If a woman transitions into a man, she becomes a man, including all the embodiment of being a man. Yeah. So technically to say that a woman who becomes a man can't be guilty of toxic masculinity is sort of like saying she's not capable of being like a real man.
Yes, okay. Right. So then I was like, yeah. Right. I agree. I like that. Yeah. Thanks for explaining that to me.
No worries. Transgendered man being guilty of toxic masculinity.
Yeah. Man. So it's a man, so...
So a trans man is a biological man.
Not biologically.
Not biological. Some people would say that's an intolerant thing to say.
I mean, maybe mentally, yes, but physically, no.
No, the patriarchy, it's like us women not being able to get, equal jobs still. We can't.
Like which jobs?
But anything, say we get lower pay. How many women do you see that are CEOs? It's just there's always white males in power.
Well,
why can't we all come together as a collective and tear down this white male patriarch?
Right.
I think that the issues of exploitation that exist within in a patriarchal society go hand in hand with what it means to live in a capitalist society, where you have power in the hands of the few.
Okay.
In the case of the minority, men are the minority, but obviously men have a lot more power in our society because of the ideology and because of the economic power that men have.
Let's talk a little about socialism versus capitalism. So a lot of folks say that everything that we see here, like the microphone that they're using, the speakers that they're using to, all the signs that we have, they all had to be purchased with money. How would we get these marches going on if we dismantled the capitalist system? Would companies just give us signs?
Companies just give us signs.
Or would there be no more companies? Let's see if we can go back there with these abortion ladies. I want to talk to these abortion ladies.
So I'm an anarchist, and we believe in abolishing the state and letting the people govern and the people decide. And there's not as many sociopaths out there as you think there is.
We are a Woman's Choice of Jacksonville. We are an abortion clinic. We we specialize in late-term abortions.
It's a cooperative, collective effort.
We specialize in late-term abortions, up to 20 weeks here in Jacksonville, Florida. We are here to protect to create a safe place for women to come in and have their abortion.
Because capitalism teaches us to be competitive, and it also teaches us to, just capitalize over everything.
What are some of the reasons that women come in to get the late-term abortion?
Well, it's only up to 20 weeks, so it's a number of different reasons. They may not have known they were pregnant. They didn't have enough money to pay for it early on.
So it's definitely like a material basis that we're working with, and that means getting into these communities and like talking to them, because a lot of time in these communities they know that they're being oppressed, and they know that something's not right, but they often can't find the words.
How do we sort of get people to understand that some people just need to have late-term abortions?
Well, hold on for a second. I want to stop. Can we stop it?
So spreading that education as well, and just raising awareness that like it may not be your fault, not everything is like an individual's fault, and that there are larger systems at work that will keep certain people from maintaining and like attaining the type of like wealth that they need. Hello, I'm Savannah. I'm with Disgruntled USA on excluded media.
You might be a socialist. Take the test. All right, we're going to take this little test later, and we're going to see if we are socialists after all. That was pretty funny. A nice, poignant lady with a nice, poignant point of view. Obviously, she's completely batshit. Okay. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Okay, so
You're exposing my identity. I gotta get out of here.
I'm sorry. Look, I'm just feeling like a very toxic male today.
No way. Don't.
Today. Batshit crazy. All right. Obviously, racism is pervasive here in Jacksonville. Pervasive here at Hemming Park. Every single day, people of good faith, of good character, have to walk by this racist, cisgendered white man with 2 canes. Talk about privilege. 2 canes. What the hell does he need 2 canes for?
Confederate monuments and Confederate schools and Confederate streets and Confederate parks and Confederate dog parks and Confederate Point and Robert E. Lee and Adolf Hitler are the same thing.
Most people get by with 1 cane. This man is clearly a bigot. He's clearly a racist.
We're trying to take down Confederate stuff first. Then they come at us, they say, what about Andrew Jackson? You're going to try and change the name of the city? Fuck yes, we are.
We are. And that sounds like a great idea. That sounds like a great idea if you ask.
Say, that's not what we're talking about right now. But then in my head, I'm like, yeah.
Right, exactly. You want to creep up. You don't want to just toss it on them immediately. You want to just inch one step at a time. Okay. Obviously, we're in the same park. We're in Hemming Park right now in the kid zone. They've got little racists in the making. This is the area where kids are indoctrinated into Trumpism. What these are bricks that are going to be used, symbolic bricks, to be used to build Trump's wall. Basically, Jacksonville is just chock full of racism, chock full of bigotry. Obviously, this area is for children who hate Mexicans, who hate Hispanics. We need to take down these statues, and we also need to actually change the name of the city. What do you think?
I think you're on it, man.
Right.
This isn't your first rodeo, is it?
No, it's not. No, it's not. Honestly, Andrew Jackson was a virulent racist and a bigot, and unfortunately, we have a whole entire city, the biggest city in Florida, named after him. May I touch you?
Of course.
Okay. All right. Sorry. I just want to make sure I have permission.
I'm with Disgruntled USA on
Excluded
Media.
My name is Jamie Travis Leonard. We're on Disgruntled USA with Excluded Media. Go women!
Go women.
All right, Disgruntled USA with excluded media. There we go. All right.
Let's see these signs, and then we'll let these ladies get on with their day. Nice. Riots, not diets. Okay, I'm against fat shaming. Just so you know, I'm against that. I'm against fat shaming. Size is just a construct too, just like gender.